So today we had WWDC 2022, and it's one of my favorite events, not only because I'm an Apple user, but I also really love the cinematography that they used throughout the whole keynote. There was, of course, a lot of cool things announced. My goal with this video is to cover as many things as I can in a short amount of time, so let's go. So if you just want the basic highlights, the main things were the MacBook Air with the M2 chip announced. It has the nice display, nice camera, speakers, and a long battery life. iOS 16 with a cool home screen, widgets on the home screen, which was big, and a bunch of other stuff that you'll see real soon. macOS Ventura, where the biggest thing was this thing called Stage Manager, which is another way to kind of organize your windows. iPadOS 16, which brought the same Stage Manager thing to iPad. Finally, a weather application, and this thing called Freeform that's coming soon. WatchOS 9 had a bunch of health-related stuff. And finally, a MacBook Pro 13-inch. So the main MacBooks are usually the 14 and 16 inch. The kind of shittier one is the 13 inch running the basic M2. But obviously it's still pretty cool. All right, so let's run through what actually got announced. So first things first, you could have a different style timing and you have it being behind an image or something like that. But the thing that I'm most excited for is widgets. So you can add all sorts of data and information onto your home screen, so you don't even have to unlock your iPhone in order to take a look at it. And you can have different sort of lock screens. So one example of this is like an animated lock screen that shows you the actual weather that's outside and a little bit of details about that weather. And another thing was notifications. So they changed up the style of how notifications come in a little bit. Nothing too drastic, but they did hype up this live activities API, which I think probably will be most useful for sports. So you can have like a live dashboard that tells you exactly what's going on within the game, with little notes about what's happening in that game, but it's also open to other applications. So this is an example of an actual NBA game, but you can have, for example, your Uber order, how far it is, or track your running information, things like that. I think that's pretty cool. Like I said, you could have different lock screens and different like backgrounds, so you could have those linked to a specific focus. So if you're at work, you can have one background and one set of widgets, and if you're at home, you can have another background with a different set of widgets. I think that's pretty cool. Here's a work one, here's a home one, and these focus modes are now covering a lot more things. So for example, you can have different messages being shown whether you're at work or whether you're at home. Different emails being shown to you, so you don't have to receive any work emails while you're out of the office. And this goes to Safari and Calendar as well. Now these next three are pretty hype. If you're an iPhone user, you probably used iMessage a ton. Well, now you can edit your messages, you can delete messages, and you can mark messages unread as well. A lot of the keynote focused on the whole like ecosystem collaborating, and one of those parts is SharePlay, so it made SharePlay easier to happen within actual messages, so you can watch movies together and still be texting each other and doing all that stuff. There's a lot of updates within the dictation part. So you're able to talk your text into your phone and be able to type right after you stop talking. So it should be really easy to switch between one and the other. And when you're talking, it even adds punctuation for you. And this is potentially some groundbreaking stuff. So live text in video. When you have a photo, you're able to get the text from the photo, but they gave an example of now you can do it within video. So let's say you're watching some YouTuber, I don't know, maybe like myself, maybe I didn't upload my code to GitHub, but you still want to use that code. You can copy paste from the video directly and use that code from a video file, which is crazy. You can translate stuff right within photos and from video calls too. So if you're having a video call with your team about OKRs, you could copy all that stuff too. So this is pretty cool too. Google does some crazy AI and photo manipulation stuff, and Apple looks like it's getting into it here too. So you can outline the little pet here and drag it off and create like a transparent image with just that pet, and then you could send that to your friends or whatever you want. So they look like they're getting into the photo manipulation, things like that within the Apple ecosystem too. You'll be able to accept payments with your phone. So instead of needing the Square device or some other thing, you can use the NFC chip within your phone to actually take payments, whether it's from an iPhone to an iPhone or a card to an iPhone. Now this I wanted to slow down. This one thing I didn't like is that as they added a Apple Pay Later, which allows you to pay over iterations. Now there's nothing inherently wrong. There's other services that do this, but I think this is a dangerous tactic to get people to buy stuff that they can't necessarily afford. If you're responsible, this obviously isn't that big of a deal, but I feel like it makes it really hard to overextend yourself and potentially screw yourself up financially. Anyways, they added order tracking to your wallet. They upgraded the maps. They already had these sort of things where they could actually give you like real architecture within your map, but now they added more cities and more things like this. Just a couple screenshots. I think these are super cool. They even got a nighttime, and they even added Vegas as a city. They added multi-stop routing in maps, so just whatever Google's been doing for a long time now coming to Apple Maps, maybe it'll be slowly start catching up. It'll tell you what the fare is for public transport. So here it tells you it should be around $2.50. And you can even add your little transit card onto your phone. They added a sports section in the news. a lot of family control stuff where you can control what your kids are doing and things like that, which doesn't interest me that much because I don't have kids yet. But now they can request more screen time in messages and things along those lines. And there's family checklists where you could check up on what controls you have over your kid and update them, and then an iCloud shared photo library. So this, I think, was pretty cool. It makes it really easy to share your photos with the whole family and have a whole space where it's even easier to share photos. So you can do it based on what person is in the photo and things like that, or you can select them manually, and you can even take pictures that go directly into that shared library, so you don't even have that extra step of moving pictures in. That whole feature of safety check where it allows you to basically remove any permissions that other people have to your data, which will definitely be helpful for people in abusive relationships, but I think might be just in general a very helpful feature. Now I missed the screen grab here, but for the My Home app, they opened up the Apple ecosystem to support Matter. So they talked about on Google I/O as well. So Matter is like a whole new way that smart devices communicate, and basically like a new protocol. And all the big tech giants have been kind of working on it together to bring more devices available to work with more ecosystems. Now HomeKit and the Apple Home ecosystem will have access to a lot more devices that hopefully work a lot better together. And they changed up the whole app so you could filter based on what type of device you're looking for, and just overall looked a lot nicer. And you can even bring it onto a widget on your home screen so you can see what the climate is at home and how many lights are on and things like that. Now this was nuts. So they opened up Apple CarPlay to be able to support all these other devices that are coming within cars. So now your Apple CarPlay can be in charge of displaying your different like speedometers and all that stuff. And it gives you a lot more flexibility for all the different display sizes. You'll be able to control the radio from CarPlay. You'll be able to control the AC, the fan speeds, the seat warmers. Apparently you should have full control of the car through CarPlay. So have like a unified display of everything. And like I said, you had directions right in front of you, which would be pretty cool. I've never had a car with CarPlay, so I guess I don't really know, but figure it'd be very interesting. And here they show how flexible it is for different displays, so you'll be able to customize it however you need for any car. So this is pretty much what it was announced for iOS. Then we had WatchOS, which honestly there wasn't that much there. So they had a new Siri layout, a better way of showing notifications, some cool new backgrounds, some very niche ways to help with working out. So like the way you run, be able to set different running workouts. Well, I'll notify you when you're getting to your goal, if you're falling below your target heart rate zone. Then a lot of other health related stuff like tracking your heart rhythms, your medications, gives you insights on what you shouldn't do if you're taking certain medications. And they also had some sleep thing. But here's a general gist of what happened with WatchOS. Now this was an unexpected part probably. It was the new generation of Apple Silicon. And they announced the M2 processor, which has 20 billion transistors, which apparently is 25% more than the M1. 100 gigabyte per second unified memory bandwidth. That's 50% more than M1. And they have the same amount of cores, but those are enhanced as well, so a little bit faster. The efficient one's a little bit faster as well. Here's a CPU performance compared to the M1. The GPU got 2 more cores added to it, so previously it was 8 cores, now it's 10 core, and also faster. Then they have a neural engine, a security thing, a media engine in there, which will hopefully help you decode and encode videos, even ProRes stuff. This is the M2. I realized I'm a little bit in the way here. This is the M2, and they're releasing it within the MacBook Air, which has a new design as well, which pretty much looks like the 14 and 16-inch MacBooks Pros, but except a little bit thinner. Very light, very nice. Has the MagSafe charger again, and it has a notch also. The display is 25% brighter, and this is a quick summary of the MacBook Air. This is a quick summary of the MacBook Pro 13-inch. The key thing here is it's the 13-inch one. The 14 and 16-inch are like the top of the line MacBook Pros. The 13-inch version is just slightly better than the MacBook Air with fans. Then they announced macOS Ventura. So as I mentioned, it has this stage manager, which is the new way to organize your desktop. You can have like multiple apps and be able to switch between groups of apps, like clusters of apps, and hopefully help you work a little bit faster. That's what multiple ones look like. And then you can actually access your desktop and be able to drag files into Final Cut Pro or whatever program you need to, which was actually kind of annoying before. So that's one use case that I think this solves very well. Spotlight got some more improvements, so you can see more information within Spotlight. Like for example, this movie, you can see what it's about and all the actors and stuff like that. And back to the whole collaboration, so you can have shared Safari tab groups where you can share with people a group of tabs that you're working in, and they can work within those together, and you're able to call them, message them, or even FaceTime them right from Safari. Now this one I'm excited about. So passkeys. They're going to allow you to create accounts on certain sites with only using your fingerprint information without needing to have an actual password. And the way they described it is none of this information gets passed to anybody else, so this is going to be basically unhackable. I don't know the logistics behind it, but that's kind of what they advertised. Then they announced Metal 3, which is the way apps get rendered on iOS devices, I think. This should make gaming a lot more and have a lot better performance on macOS. This one was very cool. You could switch your FaceTime call from your phone to a separate device so that if you're moving along and ready to sit down, you can switch it to your Mac device and things like that. So a lot of ecosystem related stuff. And then they announced continuity cameras. So you can attach your phone to your Apple device and it'll automatically detect the phone camera and you'll be able to use it within FaceTimes and all those things. And the cool thing about it is you get all the iPhone features free to use on your actual computer and video calls and all that stuff. So these are all the updates for macOS. One of the last things was iPad. So if you're unaware, iPad did not have a weather app for the longest time. So we got a new updated weather app. We got a lot more collaboration features. So within different apps, you're able to have these message video call things and you can work on these documents together as a team. And this is cool. So this is freeform. This is basically a OneNote document if you've used Microsoft OneNote, but the Apple version. Everybody, whoever's working within this document can draw, add things like links, images, and all sorts of other stuff within this board that everybody can have access to, and you can go to wherever people are working with and actually see them working within a document. And they added some gaming things where you can have an activity for what games your friends are playing, be able to invite them directly into the game to play with you. And they brought in a lot of the desktop features into iPads, so like undo and redo, things like that. You can customize your headings in a lot of applications. And reference mode, which I didn't really understand, but I think it was something to do with recognizing the colors from your laptop screen or whatever screen you're using and have the same colors aligned on your iPad screen. Basically you have like a reference for which colors are actually getting displayed, so everything's very accurate. On iPads, they basically allow you to shrink the font size so you have more real estate to work with, and you have the same stage manager where you can do multiple things now within an iPad. So now you basically have like windowed apps that you can work with. And if you connect it to the device, you could potentially have 6 things running at once on an iPad. So this was iPadOS. So a lot of cool stuff got announced. Unfortunately, we didn't get any Reality OS or any AR, VR stuff, but I'm hoping that the next event will finally get a lot of that stuff and maybe even a headset. I don't know. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And while you're here, why not learn a little bit about how the internet works?